Okay. Things look like I'm back on my end. Okay, great. I have no idea what happened. Is um OBS went to 0 bit rate, which sometimes it does. Um Hello. This being real stupid is what it's being. Um okay. Maybe. We good? We seem to be okay. My preview's working. Cool. We're going with it. Yeah, OBS just freaked out. Went to 0 bit rate. Because the bit rate detection is finicky. And yeah, well, there. Aside from my incredible talent. Cool. And then I tried to stop OBS and restart it, and it was like, no. So I actually had to, like, end the task, like, force close OBS and restart it. Because, OBS is a flawless program that never has a single glitch. Ever. Fudge. I'll try to save it. I have very low expectations. I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued by the speed golf mode. Um, I think it has a lot of potential to be both. So I'm very curious to see how that plays out. I would like for it to be fun, obviously. But we will have to see. Alright. Enough of this. Wait, let's do star mode, boo. Already got all my... So, apparently to unlock the characters that I need, I have to... I have to beat all of the ring mode stuff, which I was just working on. That gets me Bowser Jr. Woohoo. Complete... Okay, and complete the mini games. I'm intrigued. I don't know, because I love Golf Story, but I never was a huge fan per se of like the GBA and the DS Mario Golf story modes. I tend to approach golf games more just as a pick up and play kind of thing. I don't really go for the RPG element, so I'm really curious to see what happens there. Let's see. Shooting, approach, and putting. Sure. So apparently completing all of these practice mini games is how you get Petey Piranha. And Petey Piranha is infinitely cooler than Bowser Jr. That's just science. But I did absolutely love, because I mean the Mario Golf RPG things were always just like, oh, it felt very Nintendo, which, you know, uh, I don't think it's controversial to say that the best Nintendo RPGs aren't the ones made by Nintendo. Um, they do seem to be giving it a lot of care, which I'm happy about because, as somebody who got the Switch tennis game, I was very disappointed in that one. I played the GameCube tennis game quite a bit and thoroughly enjoyed it. And oh fine. Um, and wanted a return to form for that, and I was quite disappointed in the Switch outing. Because I mean, you could play tennis, but it had like zero charm. Are you kidding me? It had none of the characteristic charm that I was looking for. And the wackiness. Like, it was like, if I wanted to play like, wow, I am out of practice. If I wanted to play a realistic tennis game, I would not play Mario Tennis. There we go. That's better. I'm gonna blame it on me being sleepy, and that would be nice. I also want to see another entry in the Strikers series. That would make me very happy. Also, if you never played the Mario baseball game, like, I don't even like baseball, and that game is actually really good. Um, Highly recommend both of them. The golf or the baseball one, I think, is a little harder to come by now because it's GameCube only. Strikers, there was a GameCube version and a Wii version, a sequel on the Wii, and I don't think you can go wrong either way. If you can find the Wii Strikers game for a decent price, I think it's well worth it. I'm not even really a soccer fan, and it's just really good. Next time you're over here, if you remind me, we might break it out and I can show it to you. BG, who was here, BG the Dino Man on Twitch, who was here on Saturday, is the one who first introduced me to the Mario baseball game. Because I never really gave it any thought, but he said it was fun, and he was right. It is. That would be fun. I agree. Even break out Wii Sports if we're feeling frisky. Oh boy. I respect it, but I'm not happy about it. Oh fudge. Oh fudge. Like, I remember the Wii Sports craze was fun and all, but I don't know that I have a lot of desire to go back to it. Yeah, really. And, you know, I feel like Mario Tennis never got the love that it deserved. It's such a wacky and wild game with quite a bit of content. Um, it got re-released on the Wii with motion controls, and that was like it. I mean, there was the Abomination that came out on the Wii U, and the one on the Switch, which I still find very disappointing. But if you ask me, there's only... I am so bad. Why am I so bad? There's only 2 true Mario Tennis games, and it's the OG on N64 and the GameCube one, Mario Tennis. Yeah. Its name that's escaping me for some reason. Yeah, I've heard good things about it. I'm not so sure about it from like the sheer Tennessee aspect of it, but a lot of those RPG sportsy games, you know, we kind of got some of that in the Mario and Sonic Goes to the Olympics. I'm just gonna play a character match because this is getting annoying. Dunkaroonie, I'll play against Wario because I know he's your favorite. We'll play Cheap Calls. This game also has way better music than it has any right to. To whom are you rolling your eyes, Vid? Probably me, and I probably deserve it, but, you know. I'll go with that. Oof. When I got my Game Boy Player, I started buying back a few of the Game Boy X, you know, insert revision here, games that I either had as a kid or missed out on. Oh, for pity's sakes. Of course. I picked this because I wanted something easier than Hades. Now I'm thinking I picked wrong. So same. Huge same on that. Yeah, they were... Well, I mean, like I said in Zix chat the other day, I didn't get a SNES until, like, it was a Christmas present, and it was when they were being clearanced off. And crazy as it is to look back on now, like, all my life, my parents were like, "We're sorry, son, but there are no good games for the Super Nintendo." And, you know, they didn't know, you know, they didn't know that there were all these legendary games. So, of course, you know, they weren't keeping up with the gaming markets. All they knew was when they went to Walmart, there were no Super Nintendo games on the shelf. So, I wound up with some pretty lousy Super Nintendo games. A few pretty good ones. Top Gear. I actually wound up with a copy of Top Gear, and I still love that game. Nice. Of the legendary SNES games. Are you kidding me? The only... Whoa, okay. Didn't mean for that to happen. Of the legendary SNES games, the only one I remember having as a kid was, Yoshi's Island. Which, I mean, granted, amazing game. And I made up for it some because when I got a GBA, which, was the only Game Boy I ever had. I never had a Game Boy Color or an OG Game Boy or anything. But when I got a GBA, I got Super Mario World, Super Mario Advance 2, which is Super Mario World. And I played so much of that game. I don't know if I ever got all 96 exits, but in fact, I'm almost positive I didn't. I think I got, I think there was like an essential exit I needed in the Forest of Illusion I never actually made it to. Because I'm pretty sure I beat Bowser, but I think I did it with the Star Road route because I never actually found the exit to Dinosaur Island. I never claimed to be good, okay? Yeah, exactly. So, you know, but of course now I've managed to make up for it. I've got a pretty sizable SNES collection. Oh, I love the Hot Shots games. Um, I haven't played them nearly as much, but um, a couple months ago, I picked up a Vita, actually a perfectly working PS Vita at a thrift store, and hacked it and downloaded the Hot Shots game for Vita, and I have been playing the crap out of it. That has been what's been keeping me sane through work meetings. Because I had a Vita, from back in the day. I still have it, actually. But the left joystick stopped working properly. It only works in two directions. And I even bought an aftermarket replacement and replaced the joystick, and it's the same way. So it's some sort of issue with the actual motherboard, and I've tried to check, you know, just visually look at the traces and things. I haven't seen anything wrong. And that kind of detailed soldering is a bit beyond me anyway, but oh, for pity's sakes. But sure, we'll try it. This is gonna go poorly. So I figure it has to be, you know, internal circuitry to one of the controllers or something. Which breaks my heart. I mean, it still powers on. It still works technically. So I keep it around because, for things that don't require the joystick, it still works great. So it's still a pretty fantastic portable Super Nintendo emulator. Does a great job with that. But I'd actually played a little bit of the PSP Hot Shots Golf and really enjoyed that. And then the Vita one has just been phenomenal. Wow, okay. That's weird. Not sure if the AI just glitched out there or what. I'll take it. I haven't actually played, I didn't. I've heard really good things. I'm sure I'd love it. But yeah, I've never actually played any of the Hot Shots series on a console, only on handhelds. Um, and actually, as I recall, Everybody's Golf is the same series. I think Everybody's Golf was the Japanese name, and they just, for this latest entry, decided to um, just make that the global name, whereas they had changed the name for all the previous releases. Not sure what the logic there was, but yeah, I've been having so much fun lately, um, playing around with the Vita. Um, like it's such a good console that deserves way more love than it got, and the homebrew scene is so incredible. Um, there are games that have been fan ported that are just astonishing. Um, like people have reverse engineered the Christian Whitehead Sonic remakes, GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and San Andreas all to run on it. Um, all the classic Quake games, Doom, of course, Doom runs on it. Doom runs on a toaster, but um, just so much really awesome homebrew stuff being done for that little console. If you, they're, you know, depending on where you get one and stuff, they can be a little pricey now. But if you ever run across a Vita for a decent price, I cannot recommend it enough. Of course, the same goes for the PSP. I adore the PSP. I think it's one of the best handhelds ever made. Um, in fact, I still will sometimes grab my PSP instead of my Vita just because it's so portable. I'm not doing great. Eh, debatable. But thanks, game. Things still okay? I don't see any bitrate or frame drop issues. Oh yeah, I think the PSP was hugely underrated. That's another one where the homebrew scene is pretty incredible. Wow, okay. That was weird. I... Oh fudge. To win. Yeah, of course now, now that it's been a little while, the proprietary storage issue is no longer a thing. Um, uh, the Memory Stick Pro Duo has been reverse engineered, and now you can get just like a $5 adapter to adapt it to a standard SD card. Because it's just an SD card, just with a weird shape. Um, and yeah, I have, um, yeah, yeah, those are something. But I have like 128 gigs of storage on my PSP, and I don't even deal with UMDs. If you have custom firmware running on a PSP, the custom firmware has a virtual optical drive built in, so you can just mount ISOs and play them. It's really seamless. Really, really love the Sony handhelds. even if Sony treated them pretty awfully. I don't. It just felt so wrong. Of course, sometimes if you just gave it a little bit of time, that would happen anyway. I had a few UMDs where the plastic. Oh yeah, hugely better. But I had some UMDs where the plastic just broke. I will say though, one of my favorite retro games, full stop, is Castlevania Rondo of Blood. I adore that game, and I think that it's like the perfect culmination of all the progress of the classic Castlevanias. It's actually the prequel to Symphony of the Night, which I think is phenomenal because it's like the baton passing game. It's the classic game that got everything right, and then its sequel is the one that shifts to, the Symphony of the Night Metroidvania style. So it's very much the transitional game. And I recommend anybody play it any way they can. But the first way I played it was the Dracula X Chronicles on the PSP. And I still think that that's a fantastic way to play those games. Some people, some purists get their knickers in a wad because the voice acting is different or whatever, but it's still a phenomenal game, and that remake really is solid. And it includes the original version in it as an unlockable, and the full version of Symphony of the Night. Cannot recommend that enough. It's pretty rough. It's pretty rough, but it's one of the few frustrating games that just makes me thirst for victory. But one other thing is, if you're interested in that game or Symphony of the Night and have a PS4, Sony actually released a digital-only collection, re-release collection of Rondo of Blood with the English voices and Symphony of the Night on the PlayStation Store. I think it's $20 normally, but just look for a sale. But yeah, I can't recommend that collection enough. I haven't actually tried the collection, but from what I've read, the main critique people have is just it's a lack of special features. But when you have two games that good, I still need to actually go back and play Symphony in earnest. I've played bits and pieces of it, but I've never sat down and given it the time that it fully deserves. I've just always been gravitated more toward the classic style. I just like platformers. Metroidvanias have never really been my genre. I don't like games with a lot of backtracking as a rule. So, and that's kind of their shtick. Yeah, I don't know that I've ever actually beaten a Metroid game either. Actually, I don't know that I've ever actually beaten a Metroidvania. They're just, like, a lot of them are really interesting to me. Oh, for pity's sakes. Like Hollow Knight. I love the art style in Hollow Knight. But it just, I don't know, all that back and forth just, it loses me. And then I get to a point and it's really frustrating and it's like, no, this isn't fun anymore. But I still want to play Symphony of the Night because I really have an attachment to that franchise. This is not a great. And sometime I wouldn't mind streaming some more of the classic Castlevanias. Like I've yet to beat Super Castlevania 4 on the SNES. I've probably made it half or three-quarters of the way through that game more times than I can count. But I've just never really sat down and taken the time to beat it proper. Yeah, that's another I just traditionally don't really like very grindy games either. I think that to enjoy, you know, that sort of game, you have to be the kind of person who can really get engrossed in a fictional world like that, and that's not. Lots of my friends hate me for it, but I'm not really that kind of person. It's the same reason I don't really watch movies very much. Just sitting still for that long is hard for me, and I don't find the story of the movie that engrossing usually. So if you're the kind of person who can really get into a world, and you know, feel like you're a part of it and everything, then that's, you know, I feel like that's a lot of why those kinds of games might resonate with somebody, like, you know, an RPG or a Metroidvania or something like that. I tend to prefer much more linear experiences. I tell people that, you know, I play games not to experience the story or, you know, escapism. I just want a string of a string of things to do that provide me a dopamine hit when I complete them. Uh, and it's like I don't. Yeah, that's kind of the thing. It's like I don't want to slowly overcome something. I just want to beat it and get the dopamine hit. So that's another reason why I don't tend to particularly enjoy extremely hard games. Like the whole Dark Souls thing, not for me. I get no joy out of that, which is kind of weird considering how much I love, you know, Rondo of Blood. But that one just seems it's, you know, that one has my number because it seems so tantalizingly doable, which I guess is, you know, the whole Dark Souls thing. But that's fair. I'm not nearly good enough at Smash for that. Yeah, and I mean, I got to that point. And you're right. Like I think that it's a really well-made game. Don't, you know, don't get me wrong. I'm not critiquing the quality of the game. Okay. Uh, just, you know, sometimes it's even hard for me to figure out what I like in a game and what I look for. Obviously, I tend to prefer more like retro sensibilities. I'm not a huge fan really of when there's like 5 million bajillion different game mechanics going on all at a time. A lot of times whenever a game's like incorporates RPG mechanics, I'm like, nah. I'm good, thanks. That's too many fiddly bits. In fact, I wish I was more the kind of person who enjoyed those things, because there's so many JRPGs, for instance, that I've not played Axiom Verge. I'm familiar with it. I own it, but I haven't played it. But yeah, there's so many JRPGs, both mainstream and super obscure, that I want to experience because they intrigue me. Oh, it just, my little brain. It's hard for me to sit and spend 90 minutes with a movie, much less 100 hours with an RPG. It just sounds overwhelming. The best Metroid game, interesting. I feel like all of the Super Metroid fans on the internet want to kill you now. One time I tried to sit down with a friend and get through. That makes sense. I could see that. Of course, even 40 minutes for me sometimes is more of an episode than I want to commit to something. I don't know. I guess it's the tragedy of getting older, I'm afraid. I just find myself with less and less brain power to commit to these things, much as I want to. That is true. That is definitely one thing that I appreciate about Hades a lot, is that it's in bite-sized chunks. That definitely has made the game more approachable for me. Of course, even then, I only ever play it on stream. Like, what you all see me play on stream is all that I play it, and it's not necessarily because that's what I want. It's just through the week and with everything going on and such, it's very hard for me to commit to sitting down and actually playing a game. Because truth be told, I don't. One thing that I've come to realize as I've gotten older is I don't really find video games all that fun for video games' sake. Which I guess is kind of weird for somebody who spends so much time learning about them and collecting them and such. But it's pretty much, like everything else in my life. I collect board games, but I don't, ooh, I have a bunch of board games. That helps me none. It's like, I collect these things because I enjoy sharing them with people. I enjoy playing, video games with people in the company of others. And, the thought of just sitting in my room alone with a game console is not particularly engaging to me. Yeah, and I really wish I was more of a lore person. I mean, I love, I guess you could consider it, I kind of am, in that I love learning about the history of the medium and games and, all of these facts and figures and things. I love that aspect of it. But I'm not somebody who necessarily gets really wrapped up in the fictional worlds that games take place in. I mean, my idea of fiction is kind of weird. Like, my notion of like good fiction is things like Star Trek and Isaac Asimov and that sort of thing. Things that have a very pronounced basis in reality. As I've gotten older, I'm thankful to say that I've been able to branch out some. Like a couple of years ago, I started reading a fantasy series, book series that I really enjoyed, and I got through the first two books, and the third book kind of scares me because it's 1,500 pages, and now the fourth book is out, and I feel so behind. But you know, I can now enjoy genres and worlds and lore and things more than I once could. But it's still something that is most satisfying to me when engaged with other people. That's where the fun comes in. Fudge. But yeah, one day I want to find an RPG that I really enjoy. I'm gonna play something else. I'm gonna put something else on for a few minutes. Rich. Here we go. What am I figuring out? Because the only yeah, rip indeed. Rest in pepperonis. The only RPG that I ever got really sucked into was Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. I love the action battle mechanic and the whimsy and just how well crafted it was, and no other one has really captivated me the same way. Yeah, I replayed it a couple months ago on stream. I'm pretty sure you were here, but definitely Dragon Quest 3. Okay, interesting. You are so hopelessly addicted to the Dragon Quest series. And part of me is intrigued by like the Mario and Luigi series, but the only Mario and Luigi series I ever tried was Dream Team because it came with my 3DS. Oh my word, that game has some utterly miserable pacing. I mean, I stuck with it. I pushed through for like 15 hours. It was rough. It was so miserable. Um, but I've heard the same thing from a lot of other people, and that other games in the series are way better. But I mean, even Chrono Trigger, that's one I'd like to play on stream. But every one time I asked if people would like to watch me play Chrono Trigger, and they were like, "No, I don't want the spoilers." Which I mean, I get that. But I've tried to start Chrono Trigger probably 3 or 4 times now, and I always just end up losing steam. Gotta love some wave race. I'm bad at it, like real bad at it. One, go! I mean, as far as water-based racing games go, I'm more of a Hydro Thunder guy personally, but Wave Race has its place. This is. Thank you, announcer person. I can read the numbers on my screen, thank you.
Right. Your boat is now turbocharged. Past the yellow buoys on the left. Okay. Trouble coming up from the rear. Good show. You now have a turbo at your disposal.
Much appreciated, very Australian person.
So give it your all. You're about 1 second behind. Oh, now that cannot have felt good.
Well, okay. Yeah, right? I told you I was not good at this.
Outstanding.
I was not lying.
Turbo now. Smashing. Looking good.
Alright, lose. Woo.
Finally substandard riding.
I don't know. I have a lot of respect for the Wave Race games. I think there's a lot of potential, but maybe it's just because I'm not, I haven't spent enough time. Yeah, it does. I haven't spent a whole lot of time with it.
Stop the line. 3, 2, 1, go!
But of course, racing games in general have long been a go-to game for me. It's kind of weird. I'm not a sports person at all, but golf games and racing games are two genres that I just constantly find myself going to because they give me that quick, easy pickup of arcadey fun. And now that I have so many modded systems, I consistently find myself just downloading 100% save files to have all the unlocks. Because I don't play golf games or racing games for the story. I just want to hit things and go fast. I'm a simple person.
Yes! Excellent. You now have a turbo at your disposal.
Much appreciated.
It's the final lap. Don't let me down. Past the yellow buoys on the left. Please try to pass the buoys on the correct side. Hey, you can't miss any more buoys. You've got it. Brilliant. Looking good. You now have a turbo at your disposal. All right. Smashing. Okay.
There we go.
You've won it. That's
Alright, thanks for coming by. I'm going to end stream here pretty soon anyway. So you're not going to miss a whole lot. Have a good evening. Alright, so that was significantly less embarrassing. Normal. Huh.
Okay.
All right.
If you hit the throttle right when the light turns green, you'll get a good jump off the line.
That Slim Jim sponsorship. It is.
Passed that buoy correctly. It's turbo time. Pass the yellow buoys on the left.
This game is kind of loud.
Fantastic. That's it.
I have to tweak the volume here in a bit.
1 second behind. Awesome. That's it. Looking smooth.
Yeah, make it look like I have talent. Yep. Yeah.
Looking smooth. It's turbo time. This is the last lap. Don't hold back. You're about 1 second ahead. Fantastic. You have to pass the buoys on the proper side. Outstanding. Good job. Nice. Awesome. You just earned a turbo. Looking smooth. Well done. Next time you're taking first. I know it.
Feeling like there's a reference here that I'm not getting. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, okay. I didn't actually play that game, but I'm familiar with what you're talking about.
That was a great run. Now buckle down and get ready for the next one.
Cool. Yeah, those pursuit missions that everybody loves, and yet for some reason they keep putting them in games. Like escort missions, fetch quests. Aren't they all great? Okay, this is super loud on my end. I feel like I'm just screaming. Okay.
Great. You passed that buoy correctly. Good job.
This announcer is so patronizing.
Okay. Outstanding. You've got a turbo now. Good job. You're out of bounds.
I'm working on it. Yeesh.
Awesome. 1 lap down and you're in third.
I'll read that here in just a second, sorry.
Get up and keep going.
Okay, this is proving more frustrating than I wanted it to be. Yeah. You know, I never played the BioShock games. I've seen some people play part of them, and they seem really cool. Even as just for games to like watch somebody play. Not entirely sure what else to do. But since it is getting kind of late, and I'm clearly bad at everything tonight. I'm going to go ahead and just call it quits for tonight. But it was good talking to you, and thanks for coming by. And I hope to talk to you and Dunkaroonie and anybody else who might be lurking, soon. Either in Zeke's chat or Dino's chat or wherever. Yeah, absolutely. Happy to do it. Probably gonna come back with more Hades. I'd like to. I don't know what I'm gonna do entirely because I'd like to do something, that I can kind of see a little more linear progression with at some point. But I haven't figured out my plans for streaming. But next stream is probably going to be Monday night again. Watch for pop-up streams. There may be one this Sunday. Pop-up streams are always possible on like Thursdays and Fridays too. But yeah, I'll try to, if I know my schedule, I will try to give you some heads up, you and everybody else some heads up. But let's see if there's anybody live right now that I know that I can raid. Not Really? Doug is playing. I don't really know Doug, but Dino does. Is playing some Dark Souls 3. So let's just play Doug. That seems fun, right? All right. So thanks for stopping by. Let me get this raid business going, and I'll talk to you soon. Start raid 987. Blah 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 blah. Okay. Thanks for coming by. And raid. Cool.